Right, you're gonna have to bear with me with this video because this is actually the third take. Believe it or not, most videos I do, well, you will believe it, in one take I just turn the camera on and roll with it, and whatever happens happens. But so on the first take on this particular video, basically I've got a new phone, so I bodged it up and didn't have it in record mode. Second attempt, had the gimbal in, and batteries ran out. So this is the third attempt, so no gimbal. So I'll be interested to see, as this is a new phone, how stable it is. But let's get straight to the point anyway. So we're going to do a video looking at two of the new palms just gone in the ground. I will say it's a really nice day. Officially about 20 degrees, but feels like about 26 in the seclusion of my back garden here. So we're looking at specifically the queen palm, which I probably hazed over in the garden tool, and the butiagrus, which I've recently purchased and planted. So let's start off with the queen palm, because you could say cheated a little bit if you like. So it is in a pot, sunken into the ground. Sort of struggled with acclimating this one to the sun or outdoor conditions. So we bought this in October last year. Not a good time to buy a new sort of tender palm, but it was available and I got it. So it went through winter no problem in the unheated greenhouse, or what I call the hothouse. Yeah, totally unheated, so it got down to nearly 1 degree, so didn't see a frost, but got cold for long periods. Yeah, so it came out looking absolutely sort of spot on. But to acclimate this, I've got a lot of sun in my garden, and it's a job to find a shady spot for stuff in this tool, at least anyway. So I had to put it behind the canary enters at the bottom of the garden there, so it sort of dappled sunlight, and it worked to an extent. So I brought it out on a sort of mid-April, I believe it was, when it was due for an overcast week, which is always a good time to start off your hardening off process. And yeah, so it stood behind the canary enters pot, or I repotted it, sort of doubled up on the pot size. It's only a really small pot. Yeah, so it stood behind there for a good 3 or 4 weeks, and then we've moved it to its final, well, not final place, but to a place where it's going to be for the summer. So again, dappled sun when, you know, even on an overcast week, you get a blast of sun, and then top tips, they did brown and burn a little bit. But in general, there's a good amount of green in the 3 fronds it's got. So I'm happy with that. That'll, with the temperatures decent now, that'll start growing. And yeah, since I brought it out, we have got a nice new spear here, starting to open up. So I'll be keeping an eye on that over the next few weeks and see what happens, how quick that pushes out. So again, in a pot, sunken into the ground. The pot has handles, so I can lift it out easily. I'm guessing this is probably about 30 or 40 litre size pot. It was probably only in a 10 litre pot, so there's a good up pot. Plenty of slow release fertiliser in there, and they'll be feeding it generously throughout the summer, being it's in a pot. And so to disguise the pot, because I sort of sunk it with about 4 inches above ground level, just to make it easy for me to pull it out, I've put some the wood log around the edge, so you can't really see the pot, to be honest. And of course I have put a bracing stake across there, as we can see, just to give it a bit of support, because it's so tall and freshly repotted. I don't want the roots getting damaged, or worst case scenario, sort of snapping at the root soil level. And I have also tied it further up to the fence, so it can't move about too much. Yeah, the fronds will blow about in the wind, but in general it should be stable enough to get it to root nicely with a bit of movement there. Right, so let's move to the second palm. So this is the Butiagrus aerospatha. So I did a video on this when I brought it, but this is not actually the palm I've done a video on, because that palm in question, I ended up repotting it into a double the size pot that came in, and I'm going to keep that as a potted specimen for a few years as a insurance policy, if you like. And this one, so I bought a second one just due to the fact they did seem to have quite a few available, and I know a lot of people did buy them, and they let me know they'd bought them. And you know, I'm not trying to steal other people's rare palms, you know, there's plenty of opportunity to buy them. So I left it a few weeks and I bought another one. So yeah, this is the other one, and it's in the ground now. So it did have a very slightly different look to it. So why I chose to put this one into the ground is because actually the trunk, or the leaf bases, seemed a lot darker, almost sort of almost black, whereas the other Butiagrus aerospatha was a bit more brown. So there was a bit of a difference, and the leaves on this one didn't seem quite as wide, but still very tropical looking either way. So this is the one that I decided to put in the ground, and it's been in the ground for, I don't know, I'm going to say 3 weeks now, and it seems to be doing okay. So we watered it in well, obviously put loads of slow release feed, and it's been opening up this spear, and this now pushing another spear, and there's actually a tiny little one coming on top of that as well. So it's pushing out 3 at once, so that'll be interesting to see what sort of growth we get out of that over the summer period. So like I say, I bought 2 just for really an insurance policy, but also just a bit of an experiment to see, you know, how much difference in growth rate there is between in the ground and in a pot. So we do know things do like to be in the ground and spread their roots out, but again, the other one is in a considerably bigger pot than it came in, so that'll have a bit of room to spread its roots out a bit. But we will see by the end of summer if there's any significant change or difference between the two in the growth rates. So yeah, a little experiment for me personally, and might be interesting to some of you out there as well. So yeah, all I can say is that's, like I say, it's a bit of a sticky one today. It seemed really warm, and while we've got the camera rolling, I'll just explain, because I probably haven't explained recently to any new viewers that watch. I do have a lot of cloches still about, and you think, oh, they're for winter protection. Well, yes and no. They're also for mini greenhouses to get things going quicker. So if you can see that in there, that's a Colocasia esculenta, along with 2 more in here, which this one's actually started to grow to the point where it's touching the top of the cloche. So I leave them over winter to keep the corms dry, and as soon as it started warming up, I chucked a load of horse manure on there. And as obviously they're little mini greenhouses, so they're growing away nicely, so they'll be coming off soon. I've done a similar thing with this golden lotus banana, except it's used a plastic bag. And again, a lot of people don't necessarily agree with my theory on this, but to be honest, I've used plastic, you know, bubble wrap or plastic bags, and had no issues whatsoever. So this is like I say, the golden lotus banana, and that's come through winter no problem. So all I've done is put a stake in the ground, put some fleece around it to start with, and then put a plastic bag over the top, so that keeps the worst of the frost off. And then obviously in the summer, or sorry, spring, when things start warming up, that does tend to act as a little greenhouse and gets it all growing again. So as we can see, survived the winter no problem, and even all the little pups on the sides have survived. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a 5th there as well. So yeah, no problem with that. So a little bit of protection and a little bit of a head start with a little mini greenhouse over the top of it in the way of a plastic bag, and jobs are good. And right, if you can hear that buzzing noise, that's my neighbour's irrigation system through his polytunnel. Quite loud. Right, so we'll wrap it up there. Hope the video is not too bumpy. Like I say, I'm not using a gimbal, just the phone in my hand. I think on the next video I'll probably do an update on some of the bulbs and corms that I bought from Himalayan Gardens and Farmer Gracie. So yeah, we'll do an update on the growth, what grew and what didn't. Right, so we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.